We also have several other programs, Sonic Web Tech, which is where we focus on the tools, the technical tools that small businesses need. Small businesses like to do a lot of things themselves, and that's great. And so we provide educational opportunities. But we also, there are times when you hit a bump in the technical road and you discover that you just can't get over it. And that's where hopefully we can come in and help you get over that bump. So we have, if you go to sonicwebtech.com, you'll see there's a lot of very small targeted packages for helping you, technical support, diagnostic of problems that you might have, where we can solve a problem real quick for you and get you over the hump. Our goal is to educate you and get you going. Okay? So you might take a look at that site next time you run into a technical difficulty. Also, we have the Ask the Web Tech Pro, where you can have free help. Go ask a question. If you just have that quick little question, go and ask it. We answer the question within 24 hours, and it's free. And if you need a little more help from there, then it segues into the rest of our system, but still free. And then we also have the Right Start program, where we're developing free WordPress websites right now. We're just finishing that system. There's a flyer on it up here that you can take a look at. Okay? Today we're going to talk about leveraging social media. Basically, understanding a marketing opportunity in social media. We're going to do a very general overview of the concept so that you have a kind of a big picture of social media. You know, we've done the Facebook, where we targeted Facebook. We've done Google Plus, where we targeted Google Plus, and those videos are out there on the Chamber website, so you can watch those detailed videos of those targeted messages. But this one's going to be, we're going to look at the general picture. The idea and the goal is to help you come up with some strategies to bring all this stuff together. One of the things that small businesses run into, well, any business, but small businesses really feel it, is that you get overwhelmed. You go, oh, I can't do all this. But you're supposed to do all this. You keep telling us, now just today I told you to do Google Plus, right? You're going, oh my gosh, and that's what you said. No way!
No more.
So what we're going to try to do is give you some overlying concepts that you can use to choose your strategies and decide what you're going to do first and what you're going to do second, and what you just don't have time for, and where you can leverage it. Now, unfortunately, that strategy is going to be unique to your business. There are so many social media opportunities out there that are unique to a certain way of operating your business that there's no way I can say, all of you do this. Okay, you can't do that. Instead, you just have to have a feeling of what are the things that you need to target? How do you measure your ROI? How do you measure and track whether you're successful in what you're doing? And what's going to be appropriate for my business? And then take it from there. Okay, so that's what this presentation is about. You have the little flyer of all the slides, and this video is going to be on the Oceanside Chamber's channel, and you'll be getting an ebook that has all this content and far more than I can say in 45 minutes. So you don't have to take notes. But if you want to jot something down real quick, go ahead. You've got the room for it. Okay, I'm like pushing the red button. Okay, this is what this is our targets for today. We're going to, and you'll notice on the thing that I got that out of order. Take the last one on the page and put it next, and then take the middle one and put it last, okay? Is social media relevant to my business? What can I expect from using social media to market my business? What social media sites are best for my needs? We're going to look at a bunch of different concepts to help you make that decision. How do I start? Okay, that's always a good one. And how do I measure ROI, return on investment? Okay, that's really critical, because as a business you need to make sure you're getting some bang out of your buck. Your time is valuable, and social media is extremely expensive in terms of time. It takes a lot of time. So you don't want to be wasting it. And we're going to talk about some social media reporting tools, ways to measure how you're doing, okay? And what are some quick strategies? Right at the end, we'll talk about some really quick strategies to kind of get you thinking and get you going in the right direction. Okay, what is social media? If you don't already know, most of you will probably say, well, I know what that is. But then if I ask you to define it, you probably would kind of stumble a bit. What you need to really target is that it is based on user participation and user-generated content. That is social media. Those two are the targeted concepts in social media. Okay? Notice user. The word user is in both of those. That means you want to get other people to come in and do things for you. But you have to make it attractive. You have to make the room attractive so they come in. You have to, pretty a place up. But you want the user to participate. You want the user to generate content. Now, is social media new? No. It's been around ever since the internet's been around. Matter of fact, in the old days, you had forums and news groups where users came in, participated, and generated content. So social media is not new. I've been doing it ever since the 80s. But it's gotten a new face, and it's gotten more important, and it's gotten virtually critical. Back then, it was kind of a nice thing. So the new social media is things like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest. There's a new one. There are dozens of social media platforms out there. Some very specific to industries, some very specific to a certain way of doing things, but there are dozens out there. So the list goes on and on. I think last I counted of there's the top 50. There's websites out there talk about the top 50 social media sites. So talk about getting overwhelmed. Okay, we're going to stick to the top 7. Just to keep it simple. And the top 4 is Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google. Right as of this writing, that's kind of the current order in terms of way some people want to rank them. Google Plus is down low right now simply because they haven't built up the volume yet. But that's going to change as people suddenly wake up, as you're going to see in that SEO Moz article, wake up to the reality that if they want to rank, they better get with Google Plus. And I think that's going to be changing real quick. You're going to see Google Plus on top in the next 6 months to a year. It's going to change. Of course, you have your blogs, which WordPress is a really important way to get people to come in and participate with comments and stuff. YouTube videos, comments, again, people come and watch it, make comments, share it. Social bookmarking has been around for a long, long time. Matter of fact, it was kind of like the beginning of social media with social bookmarking. And then forums are still popular, amazingly enough. So there's still room out there for people to go somewhere and discuss and share their information in a forum. Those tend to be very specialized for your industries. So you and your particular business may not find one appropriate for your business, or you may. But look for it because it's a good way to connect with people and get a discussion going and develop an authority in your area of business. Having authority is really important in social media. The more authority you can demonstrate, the higher you're going to get ranked as well. So authority comes from people recognizing you as an authority figure, and because they recognize you as an authority figure because you've shared information, they then start going and connecting with you on Facebook and following your tweets and doing all these other things. So that's how they get connected with you as an authority in your industry. Social media marketing is a form of internet marketing that seeks to achieve branding and marketing communication goals by participating in social media outlets. Okay, so it's a form of taking social media and using it as a marketing platform, which is probably the big thing now for most everybody. There are a certain number of people who do it just for fun, but basically most of us in the small business world, we do it because we really realize that we have to in our particular business. Okay, social media marketing, why would you do this? Okay, here are your bullet points for why you would do it if you want to kind of justify this in your mind. You want exposure. You obviously want to increase the traffic to your website. So that's important. You want to build partnerships with other businesses in your industry. If you have an industry that depends on partnerships, this is going to be critical. SEO rankings. Remember I talked about Google Plus at the very beginning. That's really important. Building SEO. Qualified leads. If that's one of your strategies, building leads into your business, this is one place you do it. And of course, hopefully all of that leads to increased sales. That's One of your goals is to make some money, right? Isn't that it? And reduce marketing expenses. The internet and social media is kind of an interesting conundrum. On one hand, it's cheaper. On the other hand, it's more expensive. Because it takes a lot of time. Time really is money. So you really got, yeah, it's not coming out of your pocketbook, but it's coming out of your time allotment for the day. And so as a small business, you really feel this. Larger businesses are able to delegate. You're doing social media. Go over there and I'll pay you a low wage and you work on social media. Small businesses, you're it. Or 2 or 3 of you are it. And you got to do it all. And you're the boss as well as the social media marketing person as well as everything else. So you can see that there can be problems depending on how large or small your business is in terms of allocating the time. Okay? And if you're in a position where you can specialize in it for your business, you're going to make a lot more headway that way as well. You just have to accept that. Okay, as you're working on your strategy, you're going to need to come up with some goals, because somewhere along the line you're going to have to come back and evaluate whether what you're doing is worth doing what you're doing. Do we need some, Rich, can you see about the air conditioning over there?
Need more air?
Yeah, we need more air.
Okay.
Oh, you're freezing?
I'm just thawing out now.
Okay, you're just thawing out. Okay, well. Okay, so you need to find a way of evaluating your goals. You need to know what your goals are. We talked about those in the first one, the slide before. And now you're going to actually have to think about how are you going to measure this? How are you going to come back and say, did I achieve those goals? And you need to figure out in advance how you're going to measure those. And then things like who and where is my customer in all of this social media? Is my customer largely a Facebook type person? Is my customer largely a LinkedIn type person? Where are my customers? And you're not going to do Facebook because you like Facebook. You're going to do Facebook because your customers are there. So you need to know where they're at. You need to evaluate that. And you're going to do the social media platform that is attractive to your customer. So you need to understand that. Then how much time or money can I invest? Whether you can hire somebody to do it, whether you've got to put your own time into it. And then, of course, how do I do all of this stuff here? And tie it all together. Okay, evaluating your goals. You want to be able to measure exposure. You want to be able to find a way to measure traffic and opt-in lists and things like that. We're going to talk about the tools toward the end that you can help to measure that. You're going to somehow keep track of the partnerships you gain, if that was one of your goals. You're going to look at your SEO rankings to see if it helped you there, if that was one of your primary goals. You're going to keep track of your qualified leads in some kind of counting thing, so you can say, hey, yeah, my leads have increased, so yeah, I'm making progress. And attach this to sales and things like that. So you want to attach what you're doing to something you can quantify. And these are just some things that you might. And if marketing is where you spent a lot of money and one of your goals is reducing marketing, obviously been able to look at your budget and say, yes, we spent less money in marketing and we did better in some of these other areas. So that was great. Okay, how would that look internally? This is just a quick list, very incomplete, but things like sales, registration, referrals, links, votes on people liking what you do, reduction in cost, decreased customer issues. That's an important one that sometimes people don't realize. A lot of social media benefits come from customers being able to resolve their problems with you in a non-conflicting social way, and therefore reducing customer issues. So if customers can tie up to you and ask questions and feel more comfortable with you, they're less likely to complain. So that's an important feature of social media if you can work it out that way. So keep that in mind. It can also lower your overhead of taking care of customers and customers getting upset with it. Then, like I said earlier, where is my customer? Is he on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google? Do they happen to go to a lot of blogs and read material? Do they look for content? Do they like to use videos to learn how to do things? If you're in, well, like for example, my wife is retiring from teaching, and she's going to be working in SonicSpider, but one of the things she wants to do as sort of a hobby is she wants to do chickens. And so she's gone to these chicken sites. And God, they have videos up the wazoo on these chicken sites. And so this was a very valuable thing for those sites to do. So they have all these videos that you can watch and learn a lot about it and really become interested in those sites that have the best videos and the most instructive videos. Guess where she's going to do her purchasing of her chickens and stuff, right? So that's an important thing, was the quality of the videos on those sites. For her, the video was a defining factor of whether she went to a site and stayed there and participated on that site. The quality of those videos. And then also some of those same sites had little forums where you could ask questions and read. So those kinds of things made those sites more valuable to her. And then of course they're selling something, so when she's ready to buy, guess where she's going to go. Okay, and then we come to the elephant in the room, right? How much time does this take? Okay, I've read a bunch of surveys, and here's the numbers. The average time for a new social media marketer is 1 to 4 hours per week. But the average time for an experienced social marketer is 6 to 10 hours per week. And the average time per professional social marketer is 10 to 20 hours per week. So that's just to give you some ideas of what you're going to have to put into this to make some progress. In other words, if you need to be putting, I'd say, you have to start around 3 or 4 hours a week minimum. If you can't put that in, you're going to be frustrated. You're just not going to make much progress. Okay? Once you get into it, you're probably looking at over 6 hours per week. But then you're going to be starting to get some feedback and some rewards, and that's going to help you do it more. But it's going to take time. So keep this in mind, that it is a very time-consuming way to market. Okay, while you're doing this social media, you've got to keep in mind, just like if you were going to a networking event where you physically had to be there, there is kind of a social attitude. It's a social media, right? So when you go there, you have to put on this attitude. No matter how bad your day was that day, you need to be working on ideas of being of assistance, being supportive, contribute. Those kinds of things keep in mind. One of the downsides of the internet is, and you see this a lot, is that people tend to come out with bad sides of themselves because of the anonymity of the internet. So you got to be real careful. We used to call them flame wars back in the old forum days. I don't know what they call them now, but that's basically the concept. People get very angry and heated, and they start saying all kinds of things that they would never say to you face to face. So you don't want to get trapped in that because it's going to reflect on your brand and your company. So you just sort of need to kind of have that attitude to realize, I'm not doing this to prove a point. I'm doing this to support my business and to bring my business forward. So keep that in mind. That flaming on a forum is going to actually hurt you in today's world. Back in the 80s and early 90s, only the people in your particular niche knew about it. But nowadays, everybody's going to know about it. Another thing that a lot of people did in the beginning of social media was find ways to come up with viral content. That meant the content sort of took a life of its own. Not many businesses have natural ways to do this. Some do. If you're one of those that do, that you have something kind of weird or interesting you can put on a video or whatnot, this would be a good way to kind of jumpstart your social media world, is to do something really, eye-catching and that gets people to share it. Like, wow, did you see this absolutely crazy video put out by this company? You gotta see it. And that'll automatically give you some brand recognition. And this is what many companies do. Matter of fact, there are people out there that specialize on this. And they make a lot of money, specialize on doing viral kinds of presentations for larger companies. So it's a big deal. But if you happen to find a way to do it, give it a shot. Another way to climb the social ladder is to become an expert in something, or at least everybody think you're an expert in something. And then we call them influencers. Okay? It is time consuming. You have to do a lot of work on forums and stuff to be viewed as an expert. But if you like to do that sort of thing, this is a good way to build a following. And with that, you develop a network and you build relationships, and all of that builds your brand up ultimately. Because when people see your name, they share who you are, they share your website. This was kind of really early internet marketing, but it's still valuable. Okay? It's still an important way to do it if it happens to fit with in your niche, in your business. General networking guidelines. This should be kind of the basic concept where you're going to a physical networking event. You want to show appreciation of others' content. Sometimes sharing somebody else's content is going to have a lot of benefit to you. That sounds kind of backwards, but that's the way it kind of works many times in social media. Sometimes it's better to share somebody else's stuff than your own, because people will see you as somebody who keeps in track of everything. Okay? We'll get back to that on Google Plus strategies, talking about circles. We'll get back to this very idea, matter of fact. Okay, some quick myths. Got to clear the brain of the myths real quick so that you don't get off track. It's not free. No, it's free, but it's not free because your time costs money. So yeah, it's less out of your pocket, but it still costs you something. New customers galore. Sometimes you might get lucky, but it's still, you're going to have to go through all the numbers and go through all the process. Only the top, I put just a hash there, the top 3 social media areas will be worth my time. No. Sometimes one of those weird off new ones might be better for your particular business. Like, let's say you're into selling craft materials. Pinterest, which is a new one, would be a perfect place for you, because that's where people are going to pin your products up and share them, and therefore other people see them and come to your business. So that's that's one of those kind of new ones that's just rising up. It isn't even on the top 4 yet, but it may be your golden opportunity. Okay? So keep that in mind, that it isn't necessarily the top ones that are going to get you there. You have to really look at how it fits with your business. Social media sites are only for marketing. That's probably the reason we do it, but it's also to build brand and exposure, which is part of kind of the general overview of ultimately marketing your company. So it's a broader kind of thing than just strictly marketing. And social networking is the only future. No, all of this other stuff that we do for our businesses, we still have to do. You still have to keep the books, you still have to actually deal with your customers, you still have to do all these other things. You can't just do social media and walk away. You still have to do all the other things. I think you knew that, but just in case somebody missed it. Okay, let's look at some simple strategies. Okay, for Facebook. Okay, you start off by putting a share button on most of your more interesting pages. You want people to share it. So you can go to a place like a place called addthis.com, where you can actually develop a cluster of share buttons you can put on your site. They actually have a way of clustering your various share buttons and putting them on a site. That's a good a way of managing and consolidating this idea. You need to have a business page on Facebook. If you're going to be a business, you need to have a page. That's where your business presence. And we cover this in detail on the Facebook presentation, but business page is where you start for your business. Some people will then advertise their business page. Obviously that does cost money. And some people find it very valuable, and others find it absolutely worthless. So you might have to, once you get going, you might try it a little bit. Contests are very popular on Facebook. Very popular. If your business lends itself to contests, again, this would be a place where you can go. I have an ebook on Facebook strategies that go through 23 pages of strategies and stuff. So obviously I can't cover this in one page here. So there's a bunch of strategies. And of course groups, again, if your business lends itself to grouping people of common interests, that would be another thing that you could get into. Again, if you were in a craft type store, you could come up with craft groups. Craft groups for quilting and craft groups for scrapbooking and, you know, all kinds of things like that. You can form these groups and that will support your business. So those are the kind of things you would do on Facebook that would lend natural support to your business and feed into your business. Any questions on that? That's right here. Last month, I had questions up to really quiet.
Are there groups on Facebook like LinkedIn? LinkedIn has groups on it, which I use quite frequently.
LinkedIn tends to be a little more bigger on that. Facebook, it's never caught on quite as intensely as it did on LinkedIn because, and I think my personal opinion, and that's because LinkedIn tends to be more business centric, and therefore there's more of a natural need to grouping, whereas Facebook groups was kind of added later, and then I don't even think they have very good support for groups anymore there, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of been fading in and out. Last time I looked, it was kind of challenging to form a group. It was a bit of a challenge. So, and that's interesting enough in Google Plus, groups, as they call them, circles, is a very focal point. So you might find if you're into groups that Google Plus or LinkedIn might be better places for you to do that. Okay. And here, Google Plus. Google's about content, quality content. Just keep that in mind. Now, that's your number one thing about Google, whether it's search engine or Google Plus. It's all about sharing and delivering content to their customers. And you are not their customer. I don't know if you knew that or not, but you're not. Their customer is the people searching for something so that they now are going to be available to see the advertising on the right and the top, and those people are the ones that are paying the money. So Google is trying to deliver eyeballs to their paying customers, and you're not it. Okay, unless you happen to be buying an ad. Then you are. Okay. But quality content is what they're delivering to attract people, to attract eyeballs. So if you deliver quality content, you are part of what they are going to make use of. And you want them to make use of you, because that puts you up in the rankings and you'll get clicked. Okay, in Google Plus, you want to get into a circle, but not your circle, their circle. You want to find ways to get in other people's circles, because that's when your content gets delivered into that circle. Okay? So you don't want to pull, you're not as interested in padding your circles as you are in finding ways to get in other people's circles, because that's how your stream of content gets fed out. They come to your circle, you have a very narrow little cluster of people looking at what you're doing. The minute you get into their circle, it's boom, it explodes. So that's your real goal, is getting into their circle. Getting plussed, okay? Amazingly enough, this is where the search engine is. People plus you, they're voting for you. And Google uses that to measure the value of your content. You have to realize it's very hard to measure content. For a machine to measure content, not for people. Remember, machines are doing this at Google, not people. And people can't measure the value of content. I mean, machines can't measure the value of content. They just see words. So, Google has to have ways of giving it value. And the way they used to do it is by people clicking it. Now they're adding a social element, and that is plussing it, clicking a little +1. So as people click that on your content, you are increasing the perceived value of your content, which then Google then puts you up into the rankings because they are measuring your content. So this is also, you can see why Google Plus is so important for search engine optimization and rankings. The next thing is keeping it fresh and active. Stream. Stream is like on Facebook, the timeline. That would be the stream. Timeline, stream, they're the same thing. It's kind of, okay. In Google, they call it the stream. It's the flow of your content coming through the Google Plus system. And you want to be able to try to get new stuff coming on time all the time. Now, the key here is don't try to write a book. Think of it in small chunks. Put little things at a regular pace. And keep it up. If you can do one a week, do one a week. Don't try to do 5 in 1 week and then skip the rest of the month. Space them out. Feed them. It's getting a regular feeding pace. Even if you're able to generate more content than that, pace it out. Because you're going to want to go on vacation, you know. You want to take a day off or a week off, and you want to be able to say, oh, I've got that. Boom, there it is. Keep feeding it in. So work on small chunks of information, little announcements, little, you know, keep it coming. It's got to be quality, it's got to be interesting, but keep it coming in smaller chunks.
And how should your stream be related? In other words, the content. Should there be a plan, a relationship plan, so you take a large chunk of data and you break it down to small ones and feed it out?
Possibly.
That's pearls on a string.
It's hard to say that for your particular industry, but yeah, if you can find, if you did an article, for example, somewhere else, if you can find a way to break it up in little chapters and feed it out, changing it slightly so it sounds like a serial, like a series of something, that would be a good way to feed it out. So you're going to do a series of articles on something in your business, and you do these short little 2 or 3 paragraph sections that you feed them out. Something you might have written a whole article on at some other time. So, now, some people are falling into the trap, and you'll see, I go to social media marketing and SEO marketing type groups all the time. And one of the things you see a lot of is that people trying to find ways to shortcut this, like buying content and buying chunks of information and then what they call spinning it, taking it and putting it in a spinner that changes the words and how they look so it looks like original content. Be careful, because with the Google Penguin release that just came out a few weeks ago, they are really coming down on that. I mean, Google is really slapping down that kind of artificial content generation. So, don't do it, okay? Be careful. Yes?
What about using private label rights, but taking it and using it more or less as a concept for yourself and then taking it and rewriting it in your own words?
We all do that. We all take concepts that we read somewhere else and then respinning it in our own words through our own brain. I'm talking about mechanical spinning, where you feed it into this application and takes the content and literally replaces verbs from adjectives and does all that, and you come up with this article that looks totally different. You should see some of them. Some of them don't make any sense whatsoever. You know, it's like you read them and you go, God, who wrote this? Yeah, it's incredible. But that's the difference. We all take concepts of an article we read and then say, oh, you know, I can add to that. I can put a new view of that. I was going to say the word spin, but that. But that's what it used to be called before we got into mechanical spin, because all of us have a different view on that, and that view may be of value, may be an insight that you can add to that concept that would help people understand it or make it more useful. Absolutely. We all do that.
It seemed to me as a good place to begin.
I'm doing it right now.
Get some set of private label rights and then study them and then get your mind going.
Whatever it takes to get your mind going. Just be really careful how you're doing it so that it really is unique content.
Does plagiarism make any sense to people here? Because that's what they're looking for, is plagiarism.
Yeah.
So
that's the old word.
that's the old word. Or spin, you know.
Okay, the new thing in Google right now, the latest thing I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, beginning of this month, is Search plus your world. Often abbreviated, since us nerds love acronyms, SPYW. So if you see SPYW, you're going to go, oh, I know what that is. Search plus your world. Matter of fact, that's what that SEO article, SEO Moz, was a lot about, was this concept right here. So read that article in detail and we'll go into this concept. Basically what it means is that Google is really, really tying your social self into their search engines to such a degree that it has a significant impact on your search results. And their technique for doing it is search plus your world is what that article, SEO Moz article, really covered in detail. So do read that. I can't do it justice compared to that article, so go there and read that. Okay, now, you've done a bunch of this stuff, and you've thought through it all very carefully, and you've evaluated it, and you've just done the whole trip, but now you're going to say, okay, how do I tell how I'm doing? Okay, you know, am I just groping in the dark, or am I actually accomplishing something here? And that's where social media analytic tools come in. There's the big free one, Google Analytics Social Reporting. It's part of the analytic tools that Google has, and it's free, which is a good price. They have 5 monitoring tools that are very extensive. Google's really into trying to keep you in their world, so they're going to constantly be enhancing these. This particular group of reporting tools was just enhanced this last month again, and you're going to see it enhanced constantly. So it's a good place to start. Some people I've been here mentioned that they like Hootsuite for managing their social media, and they have a lot of analytics in there. So that might be a consideration if you're into that, if you're into managing, social media managing, and analytics at the same time.
It's Hootsuite.
Hootsuite.
Just so you know.
Oh, I misspelled it. Sorry about that. Hootsuite, sorry. Must have been typing too fast. Thank you for that correction.
Like a suite of offices.
Yeah, there's a U in there.
It's basically, if you think of it, it's taking your suite of all your
Yeah,
social
you're right.
networking and putting them in one place.
Thank you. Raven focuses on Facebook and Twitter tools. There's another tool out there. If you're really doing a lot of Facebook, Twitter, and it's really been valuable to your business, then that's a good tool. There are some more free tools. Clout, I'm seeing a lot of Clout showing up on my email a lot. Basically, you're looking at brand. Clout has to do with brand penetration. Okay, how much clout you have. Okay, and then there's a Twitlizer. It integrates some clout and peer index, kind of an API from those, and pulls them in and mixes in with Twitter. So it's kind of an aggregator. And then if you're just into pure Twitter stuff, there's called Twitter Counter, and it does what it says. It counts your Twitter feeds. That gives you some animal reports. Twitter can be very valuable for some businesses. I've mentioned this story before. There are the what we used to call roach coaches. They're the restaurants on wheels. They're a little higher in now. They've actually become gourmet, kind of restaurants on wheels. So I'm not trying to speak badly of them, but they are really using Twitter a lot, and very successfully, because basically they tweet out when they're going to show up at the next stop, and when they get there, guess what? They've got a line of people already waiting to buy. Isn't that great? To open your doors and have a line of people standing there waiting to buy from you. So they really leverage Twitter a lot, and so people monitor their Twitter feed to see when they're going to be showing up locally, and that way they can keep moving. They don't have to stay in one place, and they've got a line of people standing there waiting for them when they drive up. It really, really has been a major effect on their business. So Twitter can be a very valuable tool for the right people. Okay. Yeah, did pretty good. Kept it under 45 minutes. Okay, this is what we tried to do. We tried to look at the importance of social media and how you can evaluate that for your business. We looked at the expectation of using social media for my business and what kinds of things I might want to accomplish. We looked at some different sites and very briefly talked about off and on whether this particular type of social media site would be good for certain types of businesses. We covered that very briefly as we were going along. We talked a little bit about starting up in terms of the time and effort it takes to get going. We talked about how to measure the return on investment, some very general ideas. We also looked at some specific tools. And then we looked at some quick strategies of two platforms, Facebook and Google+. There's more on that in many of the other ebooks that we've done on those topics. So we just can't do that justice in limited time in terms of specific strategies for specific sites. Okay? So with that, I open it up to any questions we have or discussion.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Discussing Google+, my personal email, they snagged me into Google+. And that's the only portal way I know how to get into that.
Gmail. Yeah.
Yes, through Gmail. If my own business is not connected to a Gmail account, how does that benefit the business?
Yeah, we covered that. There's a video on that very topic from last month, but I'll give you the short answer, and then you can go watch the video.
Sure.
The short answer is you want to create a Gmail account for your business.
Okay.
A separate Gmail account.
That's what I thought.
And operate that as a business. That way, you later on, if you want to sell your business, you could sell that whole thing with the package. So your Gmail account and your Google Plus account and your Google page can all go with the company if you decide to sell it. So you're keeping it separate from you.
Okay.
So yes, and that other video goes through that in detail along with the ebook that goes through it in detail. So you need to get those. And if you can't find them on the Meetup site, there's actually a discussion question on the Meetup site where there's a link to the video and a link to the ebook right there that you can go and get those details.
In the tools you mentioned, what information can we use there? I mean, what is the tools that we can really benefit from and interpret?
Okay, let me show you from the ebook some details on Google. Okay, so let's go over to the ebook, and I'm going to change this right now before I forget. How about that? Yeah, I remembered that. I didn't forget that you told me that. Okay, let's get up to here. Here it is, okay. Here it is. They have 5 tools. The first one's called Social Visitors Flow. So what you have here is it provides a visual presentation of how visitors come from the various social media platforms to your site. It actually gives you a graphic flow up along with numbers. So you can see where are they coming from. You can actually tell and measure how many you're getting from Facebook and Twitter and Google+. This will help you decide where to spend more time. If you're naturally getting a lot from one, then you can put more focus there. Or maybe you feel that you should be getting more from Twitter and you're not, and you can reevaluate that. So this gives you a handle on deciding where you're going to put your time. Okay? Social Data Hub. Google has partnered with a number of social networks, obviously not Facebook because they're in bitter battle with each other, but many of the others, where they provide analytics from the actual site, where Google was able to tie in to their API and get information about the various people that are coming from them to you. So that's kind of very detailed information from those sites. Activity Stream provides monitoring of various social channels In other words, things like dig, read it, later, echo, delicious, and see who has interacted with your content. These are social bookmarking sites that bookmark content. And Google ties in there and sees who's bookmarking your content and how much. That way you can kind of see what of your content is actually catching people's eye. And that would help you then develop more content along that line. In other words, it's kind of a feedback loop for you in developing your content. Because if something is just not clicking, why do more of it? If something is clicking, boy, get on it, and do more along those lines. Social overview is another one. It provides a simple chart for outlining social value. This is defined as things like destinations, visit duration, pages visited, and events. So it takes all those parameters and brings them together and gives you a value number for your various social networking efforts. It gives you a number. It says, oh, I'm doing real well here, I'm not doing as well there. Multi-channel funnel report. It helps you detect social channels that have assisted in conversions. It takes a little more work, this one does, because you actually have to tie in your sales and your conversion rates. But I mean, ultimately, for most businesses, it all comes to conversions. And conversions mean different things to different businesses. For most businesses, it's sales. But for some businesses, it's other things. It's leads. Maybe your goal is not necessarily to make a sale on the internet, but to get leads so that you can talk to them and generate a sale down the line, separate from the social media. So that conversion is not direct. Like with your cars, you don't sell online necessarily, but you want leads to come in. And so you're going to measure people by how many people actually come in your door. So you're going to want to find ways of detecting when somebody saw you on the internet and when they actually walked in your door. Maybe some kind of coupon number or something that actually ties in from your social media into somebody walking in the door, and tie that into the system so you can actually measure, yes, we're getting people coming from that site in that location. So you might want to think about that. Okay? Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Yes?
What you just said partially answers this question, but I think there might be more to it. And that's going back to who and where is my customer. Just how do you determine that? You've got the places here, but how do you know within Twitter or
This is where you're going to have to
customer?
do the Vulcan mind meld, if you're a Star Trek fan. You're going to have to get in the head of your customer. You're going to have to think, okay, what does my customer do? What are their needs? What's it? Needs, pains, fears, fears, pains,
Yeah,
needs.
pains,
You're
fears.
going to have to understand the psychology of your customer, and from that, and I can't do that for you. From that, determine what kind of social media outlet they would be attracted to.
It happens to be the holy grail of marketing, and that is figuring out how to focus on your customer, not everybody else's customer, but yours. So what's unique about your business? What can you offer that's unique? Possibly that you can identify your unique customer that way. And then just good old-fashioned surveys to find out what they really want to get from you. You can construct a survey, you can do it online, you can do it offline by handing it to them. Once you locate, say, where do you go? Where did you find out about this? Where do you go to find out about this?
Yeah, and you can do a lot of that indirectly at various social media sites by putting up content and seeing who responds to it, what kind of response they get to it in that particular site. You can also, from here, determine where people are coming from for that content. If you put content up and everybody comes from LinkedIn, what did that just tell you?
I better get busy with LinkedIn.
Exactly. I mean, you didn't go on LinkedIn per se. You built some content and you started seeing a trickle coming in. It's not going to be huge yet because you haven't been involved, but at least you can see where something's coming from. So that's where this social visitors flow is going to be very valuable to helping you evaluate your customer. But you're also going to have to do just some basic psychology, trying to understand what you're selling and what kind of person buys what you're selling. And successful marketers are really good at that. They're really good at getting into the head of the customer, and therefore fashioning the environment that attracts that person.
So how many of you have sat in a leads group or whatever and we say, who is your customer? the person says, oh, anybody with a spine, or oh, anybody with skin. Well, guess what? That's not going to get you very far in any of this stuff, any kind of social media. You've got to be much more specific than that.
Right. Okay? Yes?
One resource that I've used in the past, I think it's an excellent resource for small businesses, is the universities here, San Marcos and Miramar and stuff. They have students there that are always looking for intern positions, both paid and unpaid, and because you're young and tend to be more aware of the internet and stuff like that. I found that was a valuable resource to get me set up. Going now. The problem is you have to keep going after that.
Yeah. They fall off the wagon pretty quickly.
So once they're not there, you still have to maintain it. But that's an excellent resource.
And they probably also, especially if you're going after a young market, would be a valuable educational resource for your business, because you're able to tap into the kinds of things they're interested in and kind of help get your head wrapped around it if you haven't been in that world as much. So your business taps into that young market. It helps to have somebody young in your business. That's where my daughter comes invaluable, because she's kind of taps into that and says, "Oh, Dad, don't do that. Do this instead." So yeah, really important. But now her problem is she's getting older too. There's a limited lifespan on being young.
There is. Don't trust anybody over 30.
Uh-oh. My son's already gone over that hump.
So how many of you guys have had success with social media? Everybody's dabbled in it, but who here has had some success? Do we have any success stories? That sounds about right. No.
Yeah. No, it's, we all struggle with it, and the biggest struggle is time. Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I've been with Classic Chariots for about a month now, and we kind of pay like a third party they do all our web hosting, and also somewhere in that package is the social media. Do you have any advice? Because I don't feel very happy, and I feel like I've came to them with my ideas, which some of them are kind of your suggestions as well, and they've got their own agenda. And so what advice do you have as far as paying a third party, and as being a small business, where do we tie in with that? Do we need to pay them? Can we do that, or should I just be doing that myself and saving my boss some money?
Doing it yourself depends on whether there's somebody in the company, in this case maybe you, who really wants to get into it.
Okay.
Obviously, if you can convince your boss to let you devote yourself to it, and
Like
drop,
almost full time?
right,
you
almost
mean?
full time,
Okay.
you probably can serve your company better than somebody on the outside, because you're tied right into your company and you're tied right into where they want to go.
Right.
But you're really going to have to put a lot of work into that, because you're going to have to reach out and learn all the opportunities and evaluate those opportunities, which is what their job is supposed to be. The problem with paying for anything, whether it's coming in and cleaning your carpets or anything, it has to do with finding somebody that will do it that matches your needs. And that is entirely possible. There are companies out there that are good at matching certain range of needs. So matching, it sounds like you're not connected with a company, I mean, just from what you're saying, that totally matches and kind of gets you.
Right.
There seems to be a little conflict. That, to me, is reason for you to reevaluate.
Yeah.
Either first sit down with them and saying, hey, we're not quite connecting. This is what we need. And if they're really interested in your business, they're going to change gears real quick and go, oh, okay. And they're going to, kind of get with the program here and start meeting your needs. If not, then maybe you need to start looking elsewhere. Or, if you can convince your boss to allow you to devote yourself to this, then you probably can serve him better.
Right. Yeah, because coming in, our Facebook only had like 35 likes. So, I mean, obviously, I don't think that's very many. And the design was pretty dated, so I requested we update the design, and just the posts are like completely irrelevant to cars, like nothing to do with cars. They're posting pictures of like sidewalk chalk and things like that that have nothing to do with our business. So I suggested, and that's kind of why I'm bringing this up, because I want to know maybe if I'm thinking incorrectly, that we come up with campaigns like show us the car facts, and we tell like interesting facts about cars and like history of cars like once a week, or we do like coolest car of the week, not so that we're selling people cars, but that we know we love cars, and that's what our Facebook is about. And
I think you hit on it right there.
Yep.
You love cars. How do you express that? Because there's a lot of people that love cars, and you
Right.
want to connect to them. So you want to show your love for cars and connect to those people who love cars. So there's your hook right there. That's your interest hook, is that love for cars. And can you express that love for cars visually, in videos, you know, the cool car kind of thing that'll make people go, hey, I saw this really good video from
Classic Chariots, they showed like,
that, yeah,
I found
about
this cool fact,
cool
or I saw
car,
this
you
video.
know, this car
Okay.
that somebody built and just blew me
Yeah,
away.
well, and that's what I'm saying, and these people they're like, well, we can't do that because blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just always a reason why they can't do something and why
'Cause they
their
can't.
sidewalk chalk pictures are better.
Because
But I'm new to this, so I have no idea.
they are probably automating.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that they are. And they told me, you know, oh, well, if you want to do that, you can feel free to, you know, post things yourself. And I said, well, don't we pay you to do that? So,
And you may be paying a lot, too.
exactly. So, okay, well, thank you. Good to know.
No, it's hard, and this is no criticism of that company, but
Mm-hmm.
but in the SEO world and the social media marketing world, there's just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you can't know it all.
You can't know it all, but also there's just a lot of people that, well, I hate to use the word scam, but there's a lot of scamming.
Snake
The
oil.
worst part is there's a lot of people who were something else yesterday and are now web designers and
Right.
graphic designers.
I deal with
and,
that all the time
You
in
know,
my
I'm
business.
sure you get that, run into that all the time with your company. I run into it being in marketing, you know, all the time. And
Yeah, it's important to know what you don't
yeah,
know.
they claim they're experts, but yesterday they were, you know, selling real estate, so.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. And then sometimes those companies grow so fast, they start hiring people who really don't know what they're doing, and they can't keep control of it because it's an exploding field, so they can't keep quality people, so that even a formerly a good business can go bad because they can't keep the quality up,
Right.
because they can't bring people in that are really going to be as good as the people that started the business, you know? It falls apart on them, and they lose control of it. So, and of course, you don't want to be the victim of that, so, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big problem with your clothing talk, but there's a big problem with Classic Chariots on Facebook. There's tons of them, and you're not standing out.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them with page zero, and like this, 2 were here. You know, there's a whole line of them.
Yeah, in your business with the fascination that Americans have with cars, and especially California, you should be just blowing everybody's socks off, you know, if you're doing it right.
There's woods and all kinds of classic.
You
Yeah.
don't really need classic cars, just
Yeah.
I need your name.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good to
You know, you have a
get
huge
that
opportunity
feedback.
there because
I agree.
because people just love cars.
Yeah.
Even people that
I
don't
love
care
cars.
much. People that even don't care much for cars love cars.
Everybody needs a car.
Because they drive them, you know.
Cars, yeah.
Really, so yeah, I think.
Well,
Yes,
thank
you
you.
have 0 comments on any of your pictures, which is telling me that nobody's looking at your site.
Exactly. So whenever he's telling me, oh, well, we don't do that because this, it's like, well, none of that matters because I can look at the Facebook and tell you without looking at any analytics or any that it's not working.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
This might be the best desktop background we've ever seen.
Nothing to do with cars.
No.
Now, it was a really cool car, there you go.
For the background, yeah. Not just like a basketball player.
It's just part of the week. Where their mind is at, to put that stuff up there.
This is
Do
the
what?
best one
Makes
so
you wonder
far.
what they're
because
thinking.
We've got some great new vehicles in our inventory, check them out. That's the best
Yeah.
one there's been on there.
What's actually related to
Yeah. At least that's related.
So what's the book accessible?
Yeah, so that's what we've been doing.
What's on
And then,
Yeah, but all the
Meetup
stuff
group?
there.
Meetup group?
Yeah, I'll be posting it
Yeah.
tomorrow or
yeah, and it's almost tacky.
tomorrow,
I
later
think
this
it's
week I'll be
very tacky.
posting. So you'll see an email coming from the meetup group, and if you don't remember, then by this weekend, go and look at how, I actually
Oh, I would
posted
love
a
to hear about
discussion
it. I
session
guess the
as well,
biggest thing
so that you can go and look
do
at
I
it. There'll be a
stop
link to this
using them
video.
for a while?
And I won't put it up until the video's up,
And
which means
implement my own ideas.
and then there'll be a link to this video and a link to the.
What is the video?
The video
They
is
do
the
a lot
video of
of
all
other
this,
things.
so.
I think that's probably why their social media packages and stuff.
Go over it again.
Kind of.
Yeah, the video is up this
They
presentation.
do too many other things.
And the lesson to this is there's a lot, as John said, there's a lot of companies out there and they're not necessarily a good fit for you, and you may not be a good fit for your business either when it comes to developing this kind of content. So you really have to think about what you're doing.
Okay,
A little research is always good.
thank you very much. I hope we got you going in the right direction. Thank you, thank you. What, just as a quick sort of survey before we walk away, is there any particular interest of what you want to, what you'd like to see next? I mean, I've got a whole bunch of talks, and do you want to see some more social media? Do you want to get into some e-commerce kinds of ideas? Any desires in that area? Yes.
Video, editing. Putting videos on.
Putting videos on. Yeah. Video editing we really can't get into because that requires almost a tutorial.
Simple methods of getting your video up.
Okay, yeah, we'll do something on like YouTube and video media. How about that?
YouTube
That sound
channels.
good?
Yeah.
How to manage your videos type of thing. Okay, does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll work on that for next month. How about that?
Right.
Okay.
Which is the second Tuesday.
Second Tuesday of the month.
2 p.m.
I say,
Okay, great.
Thank you all.
Thank you.